and welcome to InDepth. I'm Don Smith, Executive Director of the West Virginia Press Association, and today we're talking with Jane Marks, State President for AARP West Virginia. Welcome, Jane.
Thanks, Don. Good to be here.
Good. Glad to have you. Jane, today we're going to talk about Senate Bill 689, and this is a mouthful, so I want to get it right. The Accountable Pharmaceutical Transparency, Oversight, and Reporting Act.
Perfect.
Thank you. And the bill is now headed to the House floor for consideration. It's been through the Senate and through a House committee, and now we have 6 or 8 days left of the session, just a final few
more days to push it over that finish line.
Okay. Now, Jane, this bill has had incredible support. It came out of the Senate, I believe, 33-0.
Yes. Yes.
And a unanimous vote today in the House committee to move it on. While the legislators clearly understand it and support it, I'm not sure that the general public has the same understanding. Tell us a little bit about what the bill is going to do.
Okay, well, first of all, the challenge with bringing down the cost of prescription drugs is it's a pretty big puzzle. And we've got to kind of tackle a piece at a time. 12 other states have tackled this transparency piece, and so we decided it was time for West Virginia to do so. So what this would do is require pharmaceutical companies to report to the state auditor annually any drugs, whether they're specialty drugs or brand drugs or generic drugs, first of all, that cost $100 or more for a 30-day supply, okay, or if that drug cost to the customer has increased 45% over the past 3 years, or if it's increased 15% in the last year. So these are the drugs that cost a lot or have had drastic price increases. They report this to the auditor's office. It's going to go on a website, and you and I will be able to look at this, and we will be able to see how much the drug cost when it was first introduced, how much they're asking for it today, how much it costs today, how much they have spent on research and development of the drug, and how much it costs in other areas. So you and I as a consumer will be able to look at this, and they're going to have to justify why they bumped that price up so much. Has there been some new development in the drug? You know, what is the reason behind this price increase? And we feel that that kind of transparency is going to automatically force some of those prices to come down or to not be increased, because they're really going to have to justify. They can't just snow us anymore, and we find out when we go to the pharmacy to fill that prescription.
Right. And there have been some pretty common drugs over the last few years where the prices have dramatically increased. I know even some of my prescriptions, it went up 20 times what I was paying for it originally. And now that wasn't expensive to begin with, but it got to be expensive.
Well, and you know what's heartbreaking is that we did a survey recently, and we found that 2 out of every 5 West Virginians who have to take prescription drugs have not filled a prescription because of the cost, because they simply couldn't afford it. That's kind of scary. It's also totally unfortunate and unnecessary.
And Jane, unlike a lot of bills that AARP West Virginia supports, this bill won't change anyone's prescriptions cost Monday or next week or in 2 weeks. This is more of a long-term benefit, educational benefit. Am I correct on that?
Well, in a way, yes. It's not only educational, but again, it's forcing a light on the pharmaceutical companies to tell us why you increase this drug. Show us the data, show us the information, show us the reason for these price increases. Because many folks believe that sometimes there's not really a legitimate reason. It's simply an increase because they can. So tell us why.
Well, based on the vote totals, it looks like the legislators are of that opinion. They all support this. Some bills are heavy lifts, some bills are gain a lot of support. This one certainly seems like it had support. Did you find the legislators a pretty open audience and a pretty educated audience for this bill?
Well, the good thing is everybody's got a story. Everybody either experienced it themselves, like you said, or you have a family member or a neighbor or a relative that has had this dramatic cost increase of a prescription drugs. They have the same thing. Many of them have had it happen to them, or else hear from constituents or have family members that have experienced this. So in that respect, it was not a heavy lift. Now, how it was going to happen was a bit of a heavy lift, but again, the great news was the West Virginia Auditor's Office already has the mechanism in place to make this happen. happen quickly. So it's at no cost to the state of West Virginia or the taxpayers to put this transparent information out there so that we can all see it.
And Jane, if I'm not mistaken, there's no cost to the pharmaceutical companies either.
No.
I mean, they just have to provide the information. There may be
Exactly.
some time.
Exactly.
But this isn't anything that's going to force up the price of drugs at the pharmacy or anything else. This is just information that the people of West Virginia can go look at when they have time and an interest.
Exactly.
All right, great. Well, Jane, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Don.